What jobs are absolutely necessary but still ruin people's lives? Industrial plumbers and sanitation engineers. Home and possession repos. Toby. Claims adjuster. Customer service. Soldiers. Assassins. In some cases being the president. Social workers. ITT, people naming professions that are mildly to moderately unpleasant as life-ruining. Politicians. They're needed to govern and run the country, but there's no telling how many lives they've ruined or people they've killed with their decisions. Rebartiers. People rarely can do that for much more than a decade before it becomes painful. Oldies one I have seen was in his early 50s, but his work performance was less than half the younger guys. Police. Our healthcare professionals apparently. Working at slaughterhouses. That must be a terrible job. I was raised around farms and I have helped slaughter and clean an animal, but to do that on a mass scale, I can't even imagine it. Delivery companies. UPS drivers make bank, but wow, you don't have much of a life. I guess the same can be said of any company that pays really good though. Veterinarians. You go into it because you love animals, but part of the job is putting them to sleep. And too damn many owners leave the vet to be there at the end because they can't handle it. Not sure if their official title, but the dudes who work for Facebook etc. that have to check the flagged videos and end up seeing child abuse etc. Chemical operator. Even with PPE you're not fully protected. Much higher rate of cancer. Grocery stores. People need food, but the jobs they offer keep you living in poverty and working for companies that treat you like garbage to the point you question if life is worth it every day. Defense attorneys. Defending presumably guilty parties would be difficult. Pediatric oncology. I would argue this ruins the medical provider's life oftentimes. Burnout, depression, and suicidal thoughts and actions are not uncommon in healthcare, but it skyrockets when dealing with serious illness in pediatric patients. It's hard on patients, families, and everyone, but if you know someone working in this area, try to be a friend to them. More often than not, they need it. Any job where you have to deliver bad news but have no control over what the news is. I do collection calls as part of my job, and someone has to tell the person who hasn't been paying storage rent for like 3 months their stuff is being sold off soon, but it sucks when that person is me. CNA at a nursing home. They get paid terribly to do the most vital work at a nursing home. They take care of your loved ones. Clean them up from urine and poop, pick them up to transfer them. They do legitimately backbreaking work and get no praise or compensation. They are the people giving the most intimate care to your parents or grandparents, but get no recognition. Don't remember the exact name of the title, but people who work at slaughterhouses, their entire job is killing and dismembering animals. If I am not mistaken, divorce and suicide rates are very high for people who work in them, but they are vital for society to actually get their food. Test blinders for control groups. Basically you assign the placebo and the real trial medication for whatever disease the doctor is attempting to treat. Debt collectors. I know they can be some of the scummiest phone calls you can get, but sometimes people just won't pay for shit. Teacher. https://www.psychologytoday.com/us/blog/much more common core/201611/the teacher burnout epidemic part 1-2. Lawyers. They're essential when you need to defend your rights in court, but they'll ruin your life with dirty tactics. ER doctor. You do shift work with hours that are constantly changing, so your sleep is permanently fucked. You're going to be working holidays, birthdays, your kid's recital, etc. for the entirety of your career. You watch people die. You watch children die. You can be in the middle of a legitimate emergency, like a heart attack, and also have to deal with a Karen complaining about a headache, who didn't bother to try Tylenol before coming in, and someone seeking pills at the same time. Then, the Karen makes a formal complaint that she wasn't seen fast enough and your ER group gives you shit for it, even though you were literally dealing with a life or death moment in the other room. You can't always leave your work at work, and the things you see will haunt you, like having to perform a rape kit on a child, or a chlamydia-infected colostomy bag hole. You will have to tell someone's husband/wife/parent/child that their loved one has died. You will lay awake at night questioning whether or not you made the right choices in a patient's care, and those questions will also haunt you. Your family will not see you often because your schedule will almost always conflict with theirs. ER doctors have a high rate of divorce, so your marriage may suffer from your schedule. Even outside the current COVID pandemic, you will be put at risk for infectious diseases, assault, and lawsuits while at work. You'll serve as the first point of contact for people with severe mental illnesses who are a danger to themselves and others, and who will fight you on everything you try to do to help them. Your own mental health will suffer. Emergency medicine is an absolutely necessary, but horrific profession. Edit, guys, seriously. You're amazing with the awards and flair, but I'm not an ER doctor. I'm married to one. I'm genuinely touched and honored to receive your awards, but it's not for me, it's for my husband. He's not on Reddit and has no idea how it works, and I'm 100% going to show him all this before his shift tonight to put a smile on his face. But please, save your coins. Funeral directors. They charge families crazy amounts and guilt them into spending more money. Even basic services they offer are expensive. Funeral plots are expensive to maintain, cremation has a lot of overhead cost, and even natural burial can be expensive. Most people need funeral homes to navigate the treatment or burial of the body though. Shipyard sandblasting, nowadays known as abrasive blasting because the silica sand has largely been replaced by other materials. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, of the United States Department of Labor, says https://www.osha.gov/dts/maritime/standards/guidance_guidance.html. Greater than potential exposure to dust and air contaminants is the primary health hazard associated with abrasive blasting. Abrasive blasting can generate large quantities of dust that can contain high levels of toxic air contaminants. The source of the air contaminants includes the base material being blasted, the surface coatings being removed, the abrasive being used, and any abrasive contamination from previous blasting operations. This means that employees can have exposures to multiple air contaminants from both the abrasive and the surface being blasted. It can be quite hazardous, even for those who come close to the minute amounts of particles found in clothes or hair of the workers. There is more on the subject out there for those interested. I have always felt that people who work as police/detectives age much faster than others. Something about that job suggests to me that you get no time off mentally. Even when you are home, the stress follows you. It must be a heavy burden to bear. I was thinking that half the posters are stupid for misinterpreting the headline, but then again maybe I'm misinterpreting the headline. Up is asking what jobs ruin other people's lives, not which jobs ruin the employee's life, right? So ER doctors might have a fucking stressful job, but they're pretty much doing nothing but good for others. Mechanics. Shit will kill your back. Sure, you get to retire in 15 to 20 years, but that's after 40+ hour weeks and numerous back problems. That's if you're lucky enough to not get hurt on the job or injure your back badly enough that you can get disability or workers' compensation. I worked as an embalmer years ago. I thought it was what I wanted to do for my career. After a couple years, I couldn't handle it. I still have nightmares. In my job was not just embalming, but doing removals. Where I am, if someone is pronounced dead on the scene, you remove them from that scene. I've taken 17-year-olds out of rooms where they've hung themselves, a 28-year-old mother from her home where she passed from cancer while her children waited outside, and bodies from a river after a suicide. I've embalmed 12-year-olds and once prepared the remains of a toddler for the family. I'm still really proud of the work I did. I still have nightmares. It's entirely necessary work, even thought it destroys some people. I've offered to go back to it should my community be hit with COVID and our local funeral homes need assistance in a worst-case scenario. Not because I want to go back to the work, but because I think the delicate task of caring for others' deceased loved ones is immensely important. I hate to say it, but 911 dispatchers. I did the job for 9.5 years before transitioning to a different role. It changes you, it changes everyone, and not for the better. Every day you take call after call hearing horrible things, unbelievable things, stupid thing and even funny things, but it's constant. For 12 hours call after call after call. Someone working phones at our agency can expect to answer anywhere from 150 to 200 calls in a 12-hour shift. You don't get time to process things because the phones just keep on ringing and they have to be answered because those are people on the other end and we're their only lifeline. I've taken calls where someone found their husband dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, then hung up, and immediately taken a call from someone wanting to complain because their neighbors got grass clippings on their lawn while doing lawn work and want us to ticket them. You learn to just shut it off. You learn to stop feeling, you learn that humanity is horrible. Every agency I know of is understaffed, overworked and underappreciated. When things go wrong, we're the first ones to get thrown under the bus by the police or fire departments since we're often viewed as expendable. All of these things lead to the development of an unhealthy worldview. You can be the most optimistic, happy-go-lucky person in the world when you start, and by the end you'll find yourself bitter, cynical, and expecting the worst out of everyone. That being said, most people don't do the job because of the money or respect. We do it